We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
It'll be a
Thing sucks. Don't bullshit me.
it'll be a good one.
Bullshit.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's show of the Rained Out Rantcast. I'm your host Chris with my co-host Rob
from Ireland.
From Ireland, because he's not from
Not
England.
London. I'm not English.
Not from London. He's not from
We got a history there. It's like
Scotland.
800 years old. I'm not Scottish.
Anyways,
I'm from Ireland.
Today we've got a great show. Today it's a special show. It's Memorial Day.
David Weiss.
They don't do Memorial Day over there in the Ireland. But
why would we? It's your culture, dude. It's an American thing.
Anyways,
remember our heroes.
David Weiss took time out of his Memorial Day weekend to come to the Rained Out Rantcast and just give us the spiel on the flat Earth, because he is in my opinion, like the flat Earth king. I mean, people would say Eric Dubai, but I haven't seen a lot.
No, he's the original.
Yeah,
he's
he's
there's another cat. Do you know who we're never getting onto this show? That Mark Sargent guy. God, he's painful. But David Weiss, on the other hand, is quite charming. And I'm Irish, and I know charm from.
You need to get his app. His app, that flat Earth app is. It's $3, one-time fee. Boom, you get the app, because visuals is what. It's hard to refute visuals. You know, they try to make you, if you've been paying attention just in the last year and a half, they've tried all they can do to make you not believe your senses, not believe your eyes, your ears, not believe anything that's in front of your face.
Are you referring to the pandemic, Chris?
I'm referring to gaslighting of entire nations right now, and what they're doing. And
I heard of social engineering, but never heard of a social lobotomy. That was a shit joke. I don't expect the drum.
Anyways, hope you guys enjoy this episode. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at Rained Out Rant.
And we did kind of just to give a synopsis of the interview. We wanted David to tell us his piece. Now, there's certain parts of the flat Earth, like personally, the curvature of the Earth thing, I'm still just doing doodles going, that's mental. That it's hard to, like, the flat Earth argument on the curvature and perspective of the Earth is compelling. But one thing we all agree on, because I think we are conspiracy theorists, Chris, are we? Are we not? We don't believe a word from NASA. Truth heresies, conspiracies, right. Whatever.
Shout out, Chris.
But the mad thing is, did you know that the flight paths, that data information is controlled by whom, Chris?
NASA. It's controlled by the United States government.
Now, that alone
Nazi,
is far out.
They're Nazi-led NASA.
And there's other things that, we picked at, like little scabs. That it's like the scab of unknowing, because when you pick it off, you're like, I'm more lost before I had the scab on. I wish.
Yeah, we hit a lot of stuff, and I think it was a good show. Check it out.
It's overwhelming. I think we're going to return to this.
Check out the app. Hey, if you could leave a review if you're listening to this, it's probably best to watch it. We're gonna, it's gonna be on YouTube.
Oh yeah, and there's also a battle
LBRY,
the Flat Earth Society and the real Flat Earth. They're like
there's an inner battle going on.
It's like a turf war.
Yeah, like Crips and Bloods, but it's flats and flatters.
It's globe cards and flat.
No, it's flats and flats fighting each other, isn't it?
The flats and flats. Yeah. So
flatty,
we wanted to get to the bottom of this beef, but David Weiss was pretty tight-lipped. We're trying to get in there, but.
So again, enjoy the show and leave a review.
He's a self-hating flat earther.
I literally just got home.
Where are you guys?
I'm in Ireland.
I'm in Ireland. Oh boy, here we go.
He's on the other side of the whatever.
I'm
in Arkansas.
Well, I've had some interesting interviews with some people from Ireland.
Yeah. Any names to drop there?
Well, they were one of them, I think the name of the podcast had the word awfully in it. Awfully Irish. I think.
Offaly's a county in Ireland.
Yeah, and
Just to let you know,
they were awful.
just being pricks, just rooting.
You know what? Just being stupid. I mean, just not being able to see anything, not being able to understand anything, and just being pricks.
Not even able to host a podcast. Let the guest speak his mind.
Yeah.
Sweet.
It's not about me just speaking. So, I mean, you guys wrote a simulation before we start.
Okay.
What's your, gun to your head? You got 3 seconds to answer. Is the Earth a globe or is it flat? 3, 2, 1.
It's a simulation.
Simulation realms.
All right. You know what? That's fine. That's good. So you're questioning what it is. That's good.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. Definitely
Fire in the hole. I got exactly an hour.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's make it a bit rapid fire.
All right, everybody. We're here with David Weiss.
Weiss like ice.
Weiss like ice, the flat
Weiss,
Earth
I've
king.
doubt.
You're the flat Earth king, right?
I am not the flat Earth king. I'm the flat earther with the biggest mouth and the most amount of time to expel.
Very compelling. Very compelling. So we need to hop right
Great
in.
host. Great presenter.
Yeah. Me or you?
No, you can go. You can go where you want, Chris.
David
Weiss.
Rob and David Weiss.
When I was watching, who is David Weiss? I found your other shows, your other interviews very entertaining. And Anthony Cuomo, Jesus, he went to town on you. That guy in Opie and Anthony.
Well, Anthony is tightly tied to Neil deGrasse Tyson, who records out of the same studio. Neil deGrasse Tyson being the high priest of scientism and bullshit. Anthony can never cross that line and look at reality because
I thought he was quite rude.
Screw up everything.
I thought he was quite rude.
He's horrible, but
the language coming out of his mouth was just disgraceful. He should be ashamed of himself.
Yeah. Well, the language is probably.
Yeah, we'll get a bit ticking it in a while when it gets rolling.
Sorry,
Dave. Back to you. You were the guest on the show, and you are a flat earther and a very prominent flat earther. So, as we kind of said that we all kind of question our existence, and it's kind of I come from the idea that it's healthy, but the flat Earth get a lot of stick for going against convention.
That's a good point. It's not as much as you think anymore because people are waking up. We are in the time of an awakening. I believe that the sheets were drawn back on September in 2012. That's the ending of a cycle. Everyone said it was the apocalypse, and it was. The apocalypse is the lifting of the veil, and people are just waking up right now. And they are starting to see reality. The thing is, when just like anybody, when you first hear about flat Earth, it's the dumbest thing ever. And it's not even worth looking at what the person has to say because they're obviously insane. We're not a disc floating in space. That's what no flat earther thinks that. Only globe believers believe, flat Earth believers believe this nonsense or anything close to that. We don't believe anything like that. The Earth is a plane. Now, you guys are like, hey, it's a simulation. I'm with you. I mean, we're right in the middle of this toroidal field, the way I see it. But the world that we experience in this simulation of reality, or whatever you want to call it, is on a flat, non-moving plane.
Essentially.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rob.
Oh, I was just going to start talking about the curvature of the Earth, but you go ahead, Chris. Because I would be educated into the word being a globe, but I've been looking at the curvature of the Earth stuff, and I don't know. My jury's out at the moment because I'm still trying to make.
Found any? Have you?
I remember as a kid them teaching us the solar system is basically on a flat plane itself, and each planet is just a couple degrees out of kilter. Basically, is what I remember from school.
So that's what they taught us, that it's going around, but they in their model, they just didn't show us, is that the sun is traveling at over 500,000 miles per hour. So we're chasing it, but somehow all of the planets are just keeping pace with the sun and going around it on this flat plane, right?
And even that is a new type theory, right? This
No, it's not. This is what they've always had, but they've never told us this.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Because you have to remember in the ball model, once there was nothing, then it exploded and created everything. And then all of the rocky balls, all the rocky bits turned into balls, and all of the gas bits turned into bigger flaming balls and left a vacuum in between. Okay. This sounds insanity, right? This, like trying to convince this to somebody that's never heard anything about anything, that would be like, that's the dumbest thing they've ever heard. And that's the model that we, supposedly live under.
In the scientific, in peer groups, that there's so much chaos in the universe, but then we see all the magic in the universe at the same time, that there has to be some kind of, I wouldn't call myself intelligent design, and I wouldn't call myself a creationist, but I do think there's a divine hand in everything.
Yeah, that's all you have to understand. What would be less spectacular than this world being an accident would be a tornado going through a junkyard in New York City, and when it comes out the other end, it built a fleet of 747s.
Yeah,
that would be less spectacular. Okay, but when you talk about the chaos of this world, we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, orbiting at 66,000 miles an hour, chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour, going sideways at over 1 million miles per hour. I just heard someone the other day said it's like 20 million miles an hour. Whether it's 500,000 miles an hour, 1 million miles an hour, or 20 million miles an hour, it doesn't matter. We have a monument that was built here very mysteriously in 1981 called the Georgia Guidestone. Did you guys ever hear about them?
Of course we have. Conspiracy.
Okay, so you guys are aware of it, but
blew my mind. Go ahead.
Yeah.
What the astronomical part of it, or the New World Order part of it?
We're more the New World Order
little
part
hole
of it.
You're about to show there. That thing.
Yeah, that little.
I just learned about it yesterday listening to one of your shows.
Okay.
There you go. So you look through that little hole. It's like a little straw hole, goes through the rock. And when you look through it, the Polaris, the North Star, is there. And you do a time lapse, all the stars spin around. How can we be corkscrewing through space in 4 different directions at once, and Polaris remains perfectly lined up with that hole?
Unless you're on the North Pole, unless you're in the center of your disc.
No, but we're corkscrewing and going around.
I know. I hear you saying.
It's the craziest thing ever. And then, I mean, here's the thing. People go, there's no proof of flat Earth, and there's tons of proof of the globe. Well, that's wrong. There's tons of proof of flat Earth, and there's zero proof of the globe. Then there's other people say, you can't prove either. Well, that's not true. We can prove, not that it's flat, we can prove that it's not a globe. Okay?
Go for it.
Right? It looks flat. Well, I mean, if it's a globe, it has to be corkscrewing through space. Therefore, that whole lineup with Polaris could not happen. You can prove scientifically that the distance they tell us stars are would be impossible for several reasons. Physically impossible, scientifically provably impossible to see. I mean, the size of a star we'll talk about it. Let's talk about it. So they tell us that our sun is a giant ball, a giant
ball of flame,
big ball, and then the BB next to that is the Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if the sun was a mile over your head, it would look like that. And then as you move it away 93 million miles to where they say it is, it gets smaller. Why does it get smaller?
Perspective and distance.
Perspective. Very good. So, and a very short part of that distance is the Earth's atmosphere. The rest is just space. Okay. So things do get smaller when moved farther away in space. Now there's a thing called the inverse square law of light. Every time you double the distance of something, it's 1/4 of the brightness, but I'm going to leave that off the table because I don't care about that. So I went from the sun filling the entire sky because it's right next to the Earth to the size of a coin held at arm's length. If I doubled the distance, how much smaller would it get?
A quarter, you say? That's the
that's the light. No, it would get so small. But let's just make, and I say, if it was 3 times the distance, you couldn't see it. Scientifically, you can prove that you couldn't see it at 3 times the distance because its angular size would be smaller than your eye can resolve. Okay, ignoring the inverse square law of light. But just to be safe, I'm going to say, let's make it 24 times farther. Impossible to see.
Yeah.
So 24 times farther is known as 3 light hours, if you want to measure it in light speed, which is nonsense, but 3 light hours. Okay. So Polaris, you can see with your naked eye any night of the year that the sky is clear. You can see Polaris because it's always there for us in the inner north. They tell us Polaris is 46 times bigger than the sun. So to make it the same distance, the same size, let's make it 46 times farther. So 46 times 3 light hours. We'll round up 48. 46 is 2 light days. So it's 6 light days. Okay. Math isn't that hard. Scientifically, we can prove that if Polaris is the size that they tell us, if it was 6 light days away, it would be way too small to see. But we can see it. And they tell us it's 433 light years away.
Yeah, but
Who the fuck is ringing me? You're ringing me again, Chris. What are you doing?
These numbers are just insane. You guys have been watching my show, so you might have. So the distance 433 light years is it. I know that 4.5 light years is the closest star, they tell us, and that's 25 trillion miles. So divide that out, how many trillion miles away it is. It's nonsense. It's complete and utter mind gravy nonsense. And if you understood what a trillion was, I don't know if you heard me say this, but I'll ask it a different way. If I was paying you $1 every second, nonstop, how long would it take until you're a trillionaire?
1,000 millions is a trillion.
How long, if I giving you $1 every second, how long until you're a trillionaire? How long? You can do the math, but this is
666 years.
Close.
Good calculation.
31,000 years. Okay.
Fuck.
31,000 years. That just shows you how big a trillion is. The closest star is 25 trillion miles away. Give me a break. Nonsense. It's all non-provable. Well,
how many years?
20 trillion light years away. That's equivalent to 1 year on Earth, the distance that the light travels, right?
No. Does light go that far?
A light year, man. A light
year is 186,000 miles times the number of seconds in a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but if it's a trillion,
it's massive.
When you're talking trillions, taking what'd you say again? 30.
I was relating time. I was relating time to just to show you the size of the number. The distance these things are ridiculous.
No, that's what I'm saying is if they're trillions of light years away.
No, trillions of miles.
Trillions of miles. And which equal how many light years? How many miles?
Well, 25 trillion miles is 4.5 light years.
Okay.
The 1 light year is like 6 trillion miles. Rounding off.
The speed of light is how much light can travel in a year.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's 186,000 miles every friggin' second. Okay.
Yeah.
This is all nonsense. This is all just to make your brain turn to gravy and you give up. Right. They make it the number so big that you can't fathom it. And then you just give up. It's
like trying to think of all the fuel in airplanes.
Or no fuel in airplanes.
That's what I'm saying. It takes 26 8-ton, sky cranes to just lift the fuel in an Airbus. That breaks my brain.
I know. That's a whole nother rabbit hole right there.
It is a whole nother rabbit hole.
It is the Rancast. Yeah. This is a podcast digression. If we stick on point for 5 minutes, we think we're doing good.
Yeah,
that's great.
So, what I don't know. Just continue, Dave. The floor is yours.
Yeah, you guys ask a question. I could just present all day, but
something for me is the emergency flights, or the emergency landings, and how they don't work on a ball Earth. They only work on a flat Earth. The way they.
Right, and southern flight paths are even worse. Are just as bad. Here's a southern flight path from Buenos Aires, South America, to Amsterdam. I mean, it stops in Amsterdam and it goes to Cape Town, but there's no direct flight, which should be right here. It should take about 9 hours. But instead, they go from here, they go all the way up to Amsterdam, which is over the top of this ball, and then it comes all the way back down. That's the flight path that they take on the globe.
The argument they don't do that straight run is because the curve, and it's like a lot of the argument is I'm just saying that a lot of the argument is that the Earth's too big. It's just so big that you can't see curve. You can't
Yeah, but
You
we can
can't-
see boats over the horizon.
yes.
You know, it's ridiculous.
It's so big, you can't see curve unless you're at 33,000 feet or on the ground and see a boat go over the curve.
It's
Supposedly.
120,000 feet, no curve. Okay. You know, another thing to think about it, this, if you're in an airplane flying at 39,000 feet, the horizon, you know, if you use the globe calculator, the horizon that you could see is 242 miles away, and anything beyond that would go behind the curve. Okay. Right. A 6 foot tall person standing at the edge of the water, he can only see 3 miles, and then everything drops below the curve. Okay. But when you're up high, you can see 242 miles. Okay. The drop would be 39,050 feet. It happens to be just close to that number. That's just how the math works. Right. But the airplane is also at 39,000 feet. So you have to add those two numbers together. So the horizon that you're seeing here, when you look out an airplane, you can see the horizon out one window, you can see it out the other window. The horizon is supposedly 78,000 feet below you. That's higher than the friggin' U-2 spy plane flies. Okay. 78,000 feet below you. But you look out and it's right at eye level.
Yeah.
Yes. And that wrecks
Welcome
my
to
head.
Flat Earth.
I know.
Welcome to
it's
Flat
a
Earth.
problem. It's a problem for me too, because that's what gets me. It doesn't get me frustrated, but I look at the numbers here. I was just doing calculating. So certain sites I can see with 20 kilometers away, which is 31.6 meters. But there's certain things we can see 50 kilometers away, which is 196 meters. I'm talking kilometers here in the curvature, and there is places where you can still see it, where you should be able to physically see the curve. But in these photos, you can't see it.
Yeah, there's a channel called J Tolan Media. This guy is awesome with lenses. He's got infrared adapters on his phone, on his computer, on his cameras.
J Tolan.
And
say that again.
Tolan Media.
J Tolan.
Tolan. I think it's just the letter J. J Tolan Media. And he has seen things thousands, like over 1,000 miles away, and he calculates all the curvature for you. He does great work, very technical stuff. It's not really easy to present to a beginner, you know, first time looking at this, but when you look at it and you just kind of follow it through, you know, these are things in school they don't teach us to think; they teach us to memorize and regurgitate. I mean, you guys have enough common sense. You only need this much, and you guys have more than that to see that we don't live on this spinning ball corkscrewing through an infinite universe.
It's the cognitive dissonance. You get that always like echoed argument of, well, why can't I see the Rocky Mountains from my porch, you know, living in Iowa?
Right. And
well, there's atmospheric density. I mean,
there you go.
Right?
Atmospheric. Yeah, I was going to say that. There's a limit.
I mean, you
anyway.
see that just on a small scale with when you got dense fog or even
but there's always overcast in
city, or I mean,
smog, water droplets, ice crystals, pollution.
I heard just what's in the air. If it were to simultaneously fall to the earth, it'd be like 3 miles deep. All the dust, ice.
Yeah, that's not too hard to.
That's it. I don't know if I believe that, but I can't rule it out.
I'm gonna say it came from Alex Jones. So
just real quick, this is Luja, France, and this is a viewing spot where you can look out towards Mount Canigou, which is 175 miles away. You can't see it because the top of the mountain should be a mile below the curvature. At least that's what the ballers would tell you.
3 kilometers, if you want to be a bit more precise. I have the numbers here.
3 kilometers below the top of Mount Canigou.
How far away is that?
178 miles, I think. 175 miles.
Yeah, it should be 3 kilometers.
Well, no. But they're at an altitude, so you have to calculate the viewing altitude into it. Okay.
Yeah, true enough, but it's still 5 miles.
Yeah. So the top of the mountain is unviewable because the light bouncing off of that mountain can't make it back to your eyes through all of the density. But on a couple days a year, when the sun lines up with the mountain, it backlights it and you can see it. Here's the top of the mountain here. It should be a mile below this physical horizon, which it's not. It's just an optical horizon. And it's how our eyes work. It's how light works. It's how our atmosphere works. And the mountain's there. It's not a mirage. It's not, you know, a baller would say the sun and the mountain are over the curve and they are refracting up and you're seeing a mirage. That's what the baller argument is.
That's crazy.
I got to tell you something. You said at the beginning, you know, you get a lot of heat. It's really hard being a flat earther. It's humiliating being a globe believer. It's literally humiliating to anybody with open eyes. I mean,
we've got this much information, and you can just smash their fact and just smash them and smash them and smash them. It's pretty awesome.
Right. And then people go, what about the sun setting over the horizon? It's an optical effect. See, all these clouds are all condensing in and it goes beyond the clouds. But this one, the sun isn't even setting. You just can't see the distance between it because when you zoom in on it, you can see that it's clearly still above the horizon. Okay. And this here is not a physical horizon. This is where the atmospheric deck of opacity meets the surface of the water. Okay. Just due to perspective. And the sun just goes beyond it. It goes beyond it. Let me show you.
Your app with the clock on it and showing how the sun moves.
It's a lovely animation, by the way.
It's east to west, whatever, around the flat Earth.
Yeah.
That visual itself helps. And I seen someone made an actual physical.
Even if the world is a globe, this shit is trippy out though.
That working model that this one guy made
madness
is.
Oh, you mean Chris Pontius? He does the clock.
Yes,
he's
thing
great.
is like wow. Like I mean, what he had to put into making those, and then that shows you so well because then you see the actual shading and the shadows, and as it goes around that
right.
That model.
And people say, how come I can't see the sun if the Earth is flat? It should always be able to see the sun. And how come it's not light everywhere? And what I'd say is get a big circular table or just a circular spot in a room and make the room pitch black. So it's black. Then you get a flashlight, a torch, whatever you want to call it, and you hold it about, just a little over the table on one side, and it'll light up a ring. It'll light up an area of the table, and the other side of the table will be pitch black.
And this is the type of thing that people are using when they even use lighting to do their YouTube videos to try to debunk flat Earth. Is the lighting itself, they'll have it where it's just lighting them and everything around them is dark.
Right. But then in the real world, we have this atmospheric density also, which will make it so you can't see that sun, that you can't see that even though light's not making it to you, you can't see the sun because the atmosphere just becomes opaque over distance, just like you can't see the other side of a large swimming pool. And the reason that the shape of the light changes, because when you're holding your light over the table and moving it around, it's making a nice circular pattern. But I believe that there is a dome, or at least the dome that moves the light is our atmospheric dome. And as the sun moves towards the edge of the dome, its light wraps around. Right now, the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer here, and then as it moves out, Now it's over the equator, equal, and then watch this. And as it moves out, the light will wrap all the way around. See it? Light wraps all the way around. This is what time and date. This is what time and date show us as how the Earth is lit by the sun, and we can recreate very similar pattern by just using a light over a glass dome. So this would be the real sun. The sun that we see is within the dome. And as it moves in and out towards the center, it creates these same light and dark patterns. This also proves that the Earth is not a globe, because you can't take a sphere and a single source light, the Earth and the sun, and light up the sphere more than half or less than half. It always lights up exactly half. You take a spotlight, put it on a ball, no matter how you tilt that ball or where you move that sun, it always lights up half. But this time of year, more than half is lit up. And during the equinox, half is lit up. That can work on both. And when it comes back out, during the northern summer, it's going to go. Here it goes. So this is more than half during the northern winter. And this is less than half during the northern summer. That's impossible on a ball. Impossible.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of impossible shit on a ball.
Well, the fact that we're living, I mean, proves that
can you go into the NASA lies?
Sure.
I think some of those too, the visuals, like you have.
You know what? Even if we are globetards, the NASA lies on the blue pearl alone. Even if you're, never mind, forget about flat Earth and how they sold that image. This came from a satellite. And then they came out later when the flat earthers go, these images are lies. Then they admitted to it. These images are lies. We never told you. These were a model, whatever excuse they used. But even if we go into that, like, why are they lying about their photography and showing us these? Like, everyone knows now that the continent of America, is way too big. Anyway,
Right.
but that alone, why? Like, that alone, scary enough. They're lying to us about
Right.
what they're doing out there. Never mind the models of it's a globe or a heliocentric, whatever it's called. That alone, I
If
think,
money
space
and
travel
money.
was real, we would have photographs of Earth, whole photographs of Earth. Instead, we get this garbage. This doesn't make any sense. I should be able to fit 8.5 of these in between the supposed diameter, because we can measure this on a map. We can actually drive it and measure it. So 8.5 would have to fit there. This proves that this is nonsense.
just this topic alone on the fake images from NASA is mental. People should be questioning this.
Well,
Don't be
people say
maybe
the Globers will say,
SpaceX.
you know what?
Go ahead.
Well, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, no, when SpaceX, when Elon sent that fucking car up there, like, why was there not cameras all the way around it so you could get a 360
you
view?
couldn't afford them. It's so expensive putting a fucking Tesla in
the
the
weight,
sky,
dude. The
Because
weight.
they only had cameras.
Whoa, David's on
they had
this.
the camera there.
He's
they had
on
a
it.
camera looking. There was always something obstructing the view to the Earth. Instead of having cameras on all 4 points or all 6 points to be able to show all the way around.
When this happened, it wasn't even as high as the space station. The space station never gets a view like this. Okay, this is nonsense. And why isn't that picture that we just went by right there in every Tesla showroom? It's in zero Tesla showrooms. It's in zero magazine covers.
I thought that's what it was an ad. They were shooting some sort of ad, and that's what they were going to use to be, showing off their Teslas.
Come on, if this was real,
don't.
that poster would be in every showroom.
Yeah.
So I want one of those because it was in space.
Yeah,
True enough.
Right?
If they pull this off, they'd be boasting about it every friggin' day.
How come the tires didn't explode? Where there's not a single logo on here? What happened to the rear view mirror? Oh, we don't want us to looking in the mirror. We might see something.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, Elon
Very
said,
interesting.
it looks so real or it looks so.
You can
fake.
tell it's real because it looks so
And he
fake.
said
We'd
that
have
twice.
better CGI.
When they at the time of the launch, there's that one video where he's standing there watching it on a screen, and he goes, "Man, it looks so fake, but it's real."
I thought you guys said you weren't flat earthers. Come on.
No, I mean, I'm open-minded to
we're
everything.
stoners, man. We took a bit of acid. If you want to throw everything out the window,
a lot of
go
stoners
tripping,
in the flat earth movement. So
go
that
tripping.
doesn't help.
If you want everyone to break down the paradigm, take it to 2,000 of
I
acid.
love your
Forget about
presentation.
everything. Yeah, your
the more people that
presentation
see
skills
that-
are amazing.
What about the fact that we have the fact that we have a rover on Mars with a helicopter on it?
Oh, that one.
Chris
really,
has a big one, a big little story on that one.
the helicopter, for one, I don't know how the hell it could fly on Mars. And
Well,
two,
their answer is that the propellers go very fast.
oh, they're super fast propellers.
Super fast.
Okay,
Super fast.
Obviously,
but
lads,
then
it's NASA.
they bring the molecule of life, which one of the molecules, which is oxygen, on a golden cube. Just the symbology of using that golden cube and stuff.
We have to
into
get some
occult
context.
stuff.
We got going to astrotheology and just back to ancient kind of stuff. Into
It's just the symbols they throw in our face.
symbolic language. If we're kind of versed in what we like looking into, which is really interesting. We're from other sides of the planet, and through our own little rabbit holes, we're
You're
coming to
across
the same.
the center of the plane. You're not that far away.
Yes, across the center of the plane.
So what I'm showing here is the only proof that we have a rover on Mars. This is it.
GPL, Jet
Yeah.
Propulsion Laboratories.
Look. You see the square? That's where it's going to land. And it landed right in the square. Perfect.
The end.
Okay.
That's it.
This is the only proof. Well, here's some more proof. They're going to high
Jack
five.
Parsons.
They're going to high
JPL,
five, and that's going to prove it.
Wait, was this the new one or which
This
one?
was the new one that with the
they have
helicopter
masks
on.
Of course, it is. It is the new
Yeah.
one. They have their mask.
Yep.
Yay!
Look, high five. Yes, we made it.
Go,
The
Italia.
Chinese one?
Go,
No,
Lazio.
wait. Well, do you want to see the Chinese one?
Do you have that Chinese one? Because
Yeah,
I didn't know if they're trying to. Are they trying to pass that off as real? They're
Yes.
trying to pass this off as real, right?
So first,
This one-
who's on the
And
camera?
did our rover film it, or how did that work?
Yeah. They never mention any of that.
Fine,
The
time,
shadow,
time.
the ridiculous, but it has to be real because not only are they clapping,
Don't
they're
wear
gonna be-
masks.
They're going to be hugging. They're going to be hugging, and you can't fake a hug. You can't fake a hug. Ready? There it is.
Oh,
Social
There it is.
distancing. They caused this mess in the first place.
It doesn't
Still
matter.
not social
they
distancing.
did it.
But
Not
look,
a care
watch
in the
this
world.
shadow. Look at this. This is the only proof that they have a rover on Mars.
That looks
I
like
seen
fucking
that, and I
PlayStation
just
2,
seen
man.
a quick clip of it, and I was like, I thought
That
the
looks so
news
bad.
was showing like a rendition, but then it showed him on the inside. I'm like, there's no way they're trying to pass that off. As
Yeah, that's
real.
what they pass. And they
We could
never
make
say
better
it's
3D
real.
graphics
than that.
They
Dust
never
underneath
say
it.
here. They just play it. And just like when we're watching, the moon, our stuff, they never say it's real. They just do it, and then you
we just
assume it's
assume-
real. What is this? What is this a
Touche.
picture of?
This is the NASA one.
This is a photo from the helicopter on Mars, looking down, seeing its own shadow.
That's not how. That doesn't look right for a shadow.
Well,
Because
one,
there's-
the shadow wouldn't be. How would it get? These are super fast blades. You
Yeah.
can't.
Oh yeah. Look,
Super
you know you
fast.
can capture.
Look how crisp they are. Look at the different colors in the shadow.
Super.
And another thing is, as it goes up, its shadow is going to get just huge, and it's just going to fade out. Like I'm waiting for a day, and I have to wait until middle of June when the sun is as high in the sky as I can get it. I'm going to take my drone up, and the shadow disappears when it's 5 feet off the ground. It's just gone.
I think
Yeah.
someone's lying to us.
You think?
It's the
A smidgen.
Here, let's look at SpaceX. This is a test shot from SpaceX. Now, this is all just fake smoke, whether they're blowing smoke out of the ground or not. They always cut. They never show you one thing. Look at this thing. Look how slow it's moving. This little flame is listing this thing that's millions of pounds. This thing is millions of pounds filled with fuel. Okay. And then watch, look, we have a side shot here. This is kind of a diagonal side shot. The higher it gets, the more steep that camera angle is going to be. Here's a shot from up high. We still have a side shot. Okay. Look, how fast is this thing going? Because look at the smoke coming off of it. You can see that it's going maybe 5 miles an hour. Look, and now it's coming down. Okay. And look, it's coming down. You can tell how fast it's moving by the smoke or the steam that's coming off of it. Look, it's barely moving. I mean, I can walk faster than that, right? So this thing again, now look how high it is all of a sudden. Look how high it is. That's the Earth, supposedly. And here it is coming down. And this thing's falling out of the sky. It's tons and tons. I don't know, 50 tons, whatever it is. And it's just falling at this super slow speed. Look at the smoke. It's falling. And now in a second, these engines are going to light up and it's going to turn, right? What? Who got underneath this to film it? 2 of the 3 engines are going to go out. Watch. And then this
Is
little
this meant to be real
plane,
footage?
this is real live footage. This is what they showed us. And then
sure?
watch CGI smoke. Ready? There it is. CGI smoke. Bam. And then this thing is
That
landing
smoke come
in
from
that.
where? That was crazy.
And look at it. It's at an angle. Doesn't matter. And you know how you know it's real? Because they did it a while ago and it fell over and it exploded. Therefore,
They
you
keep
know it's
blowing the
real because
fucking
why would they fake a crash?
I figured when they announced they were going to go back to the moon, they're just going to keep blowing rockets up.
There's a bit of a scam in
They're
that,
the
you
ones
know?
that said they lost the technology, but they're on Mars.
Yeah.
I hate that
what the
line.
fuck?
So check this out.
These right here. I mean,
On the space station, they hang from wires. Sometimes if it's a short clip or they do these edited clips, they're on 0G planes, and they have CGI objects that they play with, and sometimes they play with real objects that they love their blow up balls because you can blow them up with half
With
helium,
helium.
half air, and get them neutrally buoyant. Except this guy was holding it, and I guess it lost a little helium or something, and when he drops it, it falls. It shouldn't fall.
You think these guys are all brainwashed? They all got like lobotomies? or
No, they're
something?
all on harnesses. They're all trying to balance themselves. They're always holding themselves like this, and they're clearly hanging from harnesses, right? Here's one where I zoomed in. These
Wait,
guys are flipping
can you
stuff
see the
around.
harness there?
You can see the
you
harness.
didn't even need to
See
zoom
it?
in there. That was like pretty blatant.
Well, it was really small because it was way back. And then I zoomed in. I'm like, hey, what is this guy?
I mean,
And it's just hanging from a harness. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. And then these guys are flipping the microphone around, and the guy in the blue is flipping his baseball cap around. His baseball cap is not real. Okay. It's what's known as augmented reality. He's playing with something. And then in the script, he's supposed to hand it to the guy in the green, and he's supposed to hang it up on the wall. Okay. But he moves his right hand, and the guy thinks he was passing him the hat, but he didn't. And also the guy's hand, I don't have a zoom in here. It goes right through the hat at one point because the hat's not there. And he thought he passed it to him, but he was a little too early, and he put it away. And then they started panicking. The guy in the blue stumbling his words. The guy in the green, he's like looking back and forth. His eyes are darting back and forth. It's utter fakery.
Oh, he's miming the hand movement there, is he?
Yeah, well, this is a loop of it going back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean, they have that augmented reality on your Samsung phone that you can play with already.
Oh, absolutely. And these guys got these heavy waist belts on. They're hanging from harnesses. They're just trying to balance themselves. And this guy's going to flip over. Look, I'm on the space station. I can go upside down. That's all they do. They play with food. They play with water. They turn themselves upside down. But he's clearly hanging from a waist harness. Clearly.
You feel really uncomfortable, though.
They look, check this out.
Really uncomfortable.
They got a fresh lemon up there, and their hand goes right through it. It's not real.
Ooh.
Okay, that's a good one.
It's not real.
And people chalk that up as to a photo, like a video glitch, but it's not. It's not like it's a
digital distortion.
It's an effect. Yeah,
it's a rendering issue.
Yeah, that's not like a frame got fucked up there. That's
no.
And
look, helium balloon, which is kind of floating. Did they get it? It's fairly neutrally buoyant. And then this thing, where did that come from? Watch, I'll show you again. There's nothing here, and now there's something there.
What?
And now she's playing with it, and it's called leap motion or digital augmented reality, where they're maneuvering things that they can see either in contact lenses or at a screen behind the camera, and they're maneuvering things in free space.
They're so far ahead of us. These little things that you got behind you with the augmented reality thing, looks almost caveman like when you know what they can do.
Sure.
I mean, the movies, the CGI in the movies and stuff, and then they give us this thing where we can have like dumb looking avatars and we can interact in VR space, and then they can say, this is gonna be what we could do with it. They've already did it with it. They're so far ahead of us with it.
Yeah.
They've spent how much on the military to have them augmented goggles now.
Correct. I mean, the technology that they have, it's gonna get more and more difficult. They say they're taking 4 civilians that paid like $25 million or whatever into space. Well, I say it'll never happen. But if it does happen, who are these guys? Are they not? They're just paid shills that
supposedly
are gonna fake it. But it's going to be so awful. We're going to be able to take it apart. Guaranteed.
Isn't it supposedly 3 or 4 billionaires have already been up there?
Not that I know of, but but again, if you want to prove the Earth is flat, it's very, very simple.
But they don't come back with like cell phone pictures and shit like that I've seen.
No, never.
Like take a GoPro up there and film everything yourself.
Yeah. They never film that. They never show live out the window of the Earth at night because we could match up the lights that they would see, and they can't do it. Like they went by a football stadium. Like, well, how come? Where's the stadium? Well, why is that stadium lit or whatever? There's no way they can do it. And sometimes it's really difficult, but when we see, the space station supposedly going over us, and there's a live footage, supposedly from the space station. We'll compare it to the weather, and it's not even close. Totally overcast, no overcast, or whatever. It doesn't work. But here's how you prove that the Earth is. This is how science, the government, whatever, could put this to bed. It would cost not that much. Get 2 airplanes, fly them over to this base over here in Antarctica. Refuel the airplanes. On each airplane, you have a bunch of flat earthers, scientists, teachers, doctors, whatever. You have a group of people. And on both planes, and one plane flies off the coast and goes around this way, and the other plane flies off the coast and goes around this way. So each plane keeps the coast in view. They're flying low, maybe at 1,000 feet, couple thousand feet. And the one going around counterclockwise keeps it on the left-hand window, and the one keeps it on the right, keeps the land on the right-hand window. 7,000 miles later, they're going to both be over here. And that just proved that this is about 14,000 miles around. That's what they tell us it is. The problem is it's not. That's not how the world is set up. So they'll never do it. They'll never do it. That's all they would have to do. The last person to try to circumnavigate was Captain Cook, and he went over 60,000 miles trying to go around the Earth. He did it 3 times, I think. 60,000 miles.
People dismiss that as it's like nothing. Like, I mean, he was an actual captain. He was a famous captain, Captain Cook. And like, that's what he did. He tried to, didn't he try to get into Antarctica, and he couldn't find a way in?
Yeah, there's some stories. There's one of those stories is the Iron Republic. It's a great book. You can actually find it on the app to buy it if you want it, or there's a reading of it on YouTube. Just look up the Iron Republic, and it's a story about people that found their way through Antarctica and found more land outside of Antarctica, and a more advanced civilization living out there, which is very possible. It could be set up something like this out here or other.
I'd love if
other
this was
lands,
true.
right?
I love if this is real, like for sure.
Well, this makes a ton more sense and is possible versus aliens coming from planets in a space vacuum, trillions and trillions and trillions
They're right
of miles
beside
away.
us.
It's nonsense. They're right here. They probably speak English.
I'd love
Okay.
that was like if we could do that.
Right.
That's the gist.
Yeah.
Now it's a more exciting existence that we
Yeah.
live in this.
Well, it's amazing. Going back to the flight routes, Buenos Aires to Perth. FlightAware says this is the fastest route, but we're not allowed to fly over Antarctica because we could disturb the penguins. So let's just go around Antarctica. That would be the shortest trip right there.
Yeah, I thought one of the arguments about not being able to fly over Antarctica, because that's the thing, is people can circumnavigate all the fuck they want. They can't go north to south and back to north. And the one guy, I think there's been a couple excursions of polar circumnavigation, but when you track it on the globe, they just go down one side and back up.
That's
They
like
never
me
go-
trying to prove that my street, which is straight, is a loop, and I'm gonna go that way, and I could pop up over there to prove it. But instead, I go there, I touch the end of the street, and then I go there, I turn around, I come back, and I go, look, I circumnavigated my street.
And then
That's all it is.
they say, well, you've got the record, man. And when you look at the flight path, they're just going up and down one side
The
of
flight path on
the
this
globe.
is the opposite. The plane goes this way, goes all the way up across America, across Europe, and then comes down, okay, across. And this is what it looks like. Well, that's not what it looks like. This is what it looks like. It goes from Buenos Aires to either Miami or what does that say?
They might be doing that just to charge you for all the fuel they don't put in.
Or Houston. Well, all the fuel they don't use. It goes here to Houston, then it stops in California, then it stops in Sydney, then it goes across, or it goes this way, Europe, Singapore. Way longer. Why don't they just pop across the bottom? And the answer is they can't, because that's not how the world is set up. We tracked Max Egan, who was taking the Santiago to Auckland flight, and the seatback cushion, the seatback TV said that he was taking, the kind of skirting around by Antarctica route, and he took compass readings that didn't match that. His compass readings were northwest, then west, and then southwest, and then south. And then we laid his compass readings out on a flat earth, and it works perfectly, right? Magnetic north is in the center, and that compass needle always needs to point towards the center.
Max Egan, the Australian guy.
Yeah, Max Egan.
Interesting.
And he hated flat earth. He did it.
Yeah, I could imagine.
That the flight
I don't
existed.
see him being like too vocal about it.
Well, now he basically says we don't know what the Earth is, and that's fine because he's right.
Yeah,
We don't
that's
know
how
what
I
the Earth
feel.
is.
We
do know it's not a spinning ball flying through a space vacuum.
Do you ever think, when you go off into the equator, that massive plane, and it's like a Mario Brothers, that battle level, where you go out one side and you come out the other?
That's
There's a lot of people that think
Pac-Man,
that. There are
right?
some
Through
flat earthers
baseball
that
hit you in
think
the back of the head.
Are there flat earthers that think that?
Well, there's people
Like,
I think
that
that-
are
'cause that's what
globe
Pac-Man
deniers that don't think that the sun circles, but the sun clearly circles because you can see it circle. We can see it circle from the Arctic, and we can see it circle from the Antarctic.
I have
Let
issue
me-
how they say the sun's moving. I think the sun is stationary. No, like the model how we say it's beaming through space, because if it was
Well-
moving, then our star signs wouldn't make any sense. And we kind of proofs that they've been aligning for
Well,
millennium.
funny you should bring that up because that's what we're going to talk about right about now.
That's my
So-
third eye.
Where is my thing? So on the app I made, the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac clock app.
I like I just think this is
Pretty
really
sweet
cool.
app. Probably should go download
Just
that.
yeah, stop calling it flat earth. We could sell these as something else because it's really nice design.
Let's move this out of
With
the way.
change,
So
we
You
need a
sell these as
marketing
wall-
meeting.
You got these as wall clocks yet?
These are fucking awesome.
I
I fell in love with
made
this
a
the
wall
minute I
clock.
saw it.
See, I originally made a wall clock. I made about 150 of them, and they ended up just to get them to somebody at break even cost after shipping and everything. It was like $150. I'm like, that ain't gonna work. So
Yeah.
and that was just me making them. I mean, I'm sure somebody could make them, but the problem is the sun didn't do what it's supposed to do. Right now, the sun, for those of you new, the sun is the hour hand of the sky clock. It goes around once every 24 hours. It keeps track of the hours and the days. It laps the moon once every 28 days. So the moon's phases and position keep track of the months. Okay. And that's how that works. The reason the
they're
sun right
phases
now
of the moon. That's what's going on there. Okay.
yeah. So when it gets near the moon, we have a new moon, and then when it gets farther away from the moon, we have a full moon. But the reason the sun isn't pinned to the hour hand is because right now here in where I live in Connecticut, we're on daylight savings time, which is fake time. It's really an hour earlier than they tell us. So the sun is showing showing the real time versus fake time. So right now the moon is waxing. Right. And it's getting bigger as the sun is leaping. So the sun will lap it once every 28 hours. So a moment ago, you mentioned the stars. Well, if I turn the stars on, these are the zodiac stars. They spin around at almost the same speed as the sun, but slightly faster. They don't lap the sun once every 28 days like the sun laps the moon. They lap the sun once a year. So right now, the sun is in this constellation. Next month, Cancer. The tropic of Cancer,
star
will
signs.
catch up to it. So it'll migrate slowly, look like it's going backwards. It's really going in the same direction, but you think it's going backwards. You think it's going in the opposite direction. And the moon, because the moon is going much slower than the sun, the moon will migrate through each tropic every 3 days. Okay. It only takes the moon 3 days because the zodiac wheel is going faster than the sun. The zodiac wheel laps the moon like once every, let me think about that, once every 36 days or something like that. So that's how the stars always remain in the same place. Go out tonight, look at the stars at 10 o'clock, midnight, whatever. Mark where they are, make a little star chart. And then a year from now, same night, same time, go out and those stars will be in the exact same position. The exact
You hear that,
same.
Chris?
Yeah, when we are in supposedly in like chaos. I mean,
Yeah,
that
in
spinning
chaos,
corkscrew is like chaos, supposedly the Big Bang, and it went roof and everything. And they try to tell you it's all
Right.
relative. So everything's moving.
Right.
But how is that possible
Right.
when supposedly bodies, mass interact with each other? So everything would be moving and changing at a constant.
Different forces pulling on each
That's
other
just the
too.
beginning of the problems. Let's
Right?
talk about seasons. So you guys are in Ireland and you're approaching your summer, right? I'm
Yeah,
having our
same as
summer
Northern
coming.
Hemisphere. It's going to be the same as the States.
And that's because the sun is close to us. This is the tropic. This inner circle is the Tropic of Cancer. The outer yellow line is the Tropic of Capricorn. The red line in the middle is the equator. The sun migrates in between these tropics every 6 months. And so in June 21st, it's going to be in here right now. It's Miami, Florida, super hot. Southern America, hot. Mexico, super hot. Australia, middle of their winter. Right. It's not that cold because they're still close to the sun. New Zealand, colder, right? It's farther away. But if I jump the sun forward 6 months, it jumps out to the Tropic of Capricorn. There in December, they're having the heat of their summer. The sun's high over their head. And us in the inner north, the sun is farther away. What happens when something in the sky is farther away? It's lower in the sky. Okay. Imagine if you two were outside, laying on the ground, middle of winter, sitting in chairs, whatever, and you're 15 feet apart. You're both freezing. And then I come over and I'm holding a nice heat lamp, super heat lamp, 10 feet over one of your heads. Okay. You look up, the guy under the light, and that's your summer sun. It's right over you. It's hot. The other person 10, 15 feet away sees that sun lower in the sky, can barely feel the heat. There's your winter sun. Move the sun over, boom, winter, summer. Get it?
Well, it's a lot to take in, David, you know.
Not a lot to take in. It's very
It
easy.
is when I'm being brainwashed into believing that we live on a globe.
Yeah, well, you got to let that go.
But
Nobody likes having their ball taken away.
Oh, I don't give a shit. I had my knocks in life. I'll get over it. What I was going to say, though, what I found trippy out is listening to I was been skimming through your interviews, how the moon and the sun are on the same plane that we see. And when it does and then the other thing with not before flat earth, and even I always thought it was fucking mental, sorry for my bad language, is the moon and the sun, when they eclipse, they're the same size from our perspective, which for me alone kind of tells me that there's what the word of man, I don't want to get too Christian here, like what we're told and to the phenomena we can see every night when the moon's out, that whatever is going on, to me there's more. It's like everything's like a Richard Dawkins explanation through purely science, or Neil deGrasse Tyson, how everything has to be purely scientific based, but there's obviously a big mystery right staring at us. And I think the only people who will be more open to flat earth are more mystical kind of ideas of existence, or people who kind of have that sense of feeling that we're not being told the whole story anyway. You know what I'm saying? The people are more into basically more religious, spiritual people than the atheists will kind of be more comfortable talking about these things, because there's stuff that like people who have a religious background that's laughed out the door. Like imagine I told you I believe in a zombie lord that was dead for 3 days and can bring everyone back to life. Say that to Richard Dawkins or Neil deGrasse Tyson. They're going to tell you, shut up, you clown. You know what I mean? What are you talking about? But when you're talking about these things, that there's way more, what we're being explained by science, and NASA has clearly been lying to us, who was like, we believe, even with the pandemic, it's like we're believing people that constantly lie to us, you know? And that's why I'm always open ears to this. And there's certain observations from the flat earth that I like getting stumbled, especially with the earth curvature thing. I enjoy the fact that I don't know. Does that make any sense? Like I find comfort that there's more to the world, where other people feel insecure. Like if you had some proof that made undeniably made NASA look like they've been lying to us, that's very dangerous. Anyway, that is very dangerous when you think about it. Look at all the tax money that goes to these projects.
Yeah, all the money that's going. People always ask,
and that's why I think there's a lie. There's a lie somewhere along the line.
Yeah, why would they do this? Why are they doing this? What's the
well, that's part of the answer to that one, though.
I'm with you.
Would you explain it pretty well, Dave, as far as like what the end game is?
David, you're a great orator, man. Like,
we're gonna talk about that in a minute. I'm going through the app here, some different things. There's so much information. The mud floods, Tartaria, amazing information. Tons of stuff. Your interview will be up here in the interviews. That's where all my interviews are. And the thing is, if you try to Google flat Earth, you're not going to find any good information, and you're going to have questions like, "Hey, what about eclipses? What about eclipses? Why the lie?" If I click "Why the lie," up comes a list of videos that Google doesn't want you to see. These videos won't show up in your Google searches.
You have to type in that title to get that video,
and then sometimes it still doesn't show up. Okay.
Yeah.
Just by searching flat Earth, you get all sorts of garbage, but all of the questions are answered here. I'm offering a Bitcoin or 2 Bitcoins.
It's like Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Where
2
is
Bitcoins for one proof of the globe, and nobody has been able to do it so far. So again, time zones work, wherever the sun is, it's noon, and they spin with the sun. Right? Makes perfect sense.
Can I find this app in the Play Store?
Yeah, so this app is in the Play Store. You need Android 8.0 or higher, and
I got 8.0.
And then Apple, you need an iPhone 6 or better. and
Now my phone's
so
my phone's all messed up.
it's $3, one-time fee. There is a pop-up once a day, no ads, that says, "Would you like to subscribe for 99 cents?" You don't have to. Just exit out. You don't have to wait. No ads, nothing. It only shows up once a day. Okay.
David, besides the point, and this is the Rantcast, and we'll digress over the smallest things. I'm really impressed with this application you've developed. I think there's going to be more of this, of people like, we're not getting our search results we want. So you're going to have to build your own application to scour the screen, the web.
I did it, and it's less than a beer, and you don't piss it away in 20 minutes. You have it for the rest of your life. If you're unsure about the app, I don't pay for apps. I want my apps for free because I'm the product in that case. You just read the reviews. It's the highest rated app in both stores.
I like technology anyway. I like the way it's designed.
Everyone loves it.
New video every day.
Never mind the subject being flat Earth. The way you laid it out, it's like I could actually have a podcast
featured video
discussing the tech behind it, man.
The featured video every day is what we'll get you. Just watch the featured video each day for a couple weeks, and then you'll know that you don't live on a spinning ball. You're talking about
so tech savvy, man.
Yeah. So listen to this. Listen to this. Eclipses.
Yeah.
As you said, the possibility of our moon lining up perfectly with the sun, which is 400 times farther and 400 times bigger, making a perfect eclipse is 1 in a gazillion, whatever. It's ridiculous. The chances of
Can
it
we
happening.
Pause here, Dave, a second. Can we ask Chris, how do you feel about that when you see that the sun is 400? What's the numbers there, David?
400 times larger, 400 times farther. Therefore, it looks the same size.
Before you give your answer, Dave, I want to hear Chris. Me and Chris never talk about this particular stuff. We never get into it. We talk about a lot of other shit, but not this. So what do you think when you see that? Like when you hear like the sun being so far away, the moon
eclipse.
That's what makes it.
People have been asking that, lately.
So a solar eclipse happens when the
they said at some point we're not going to get a perfect eclipse anymore. Is what they said. Yeah.
They said what? What did they say?
I read an article maybe a couple years ago how at some point we're not going to be able to. The moon's going to be too far away from the Earth because supposedly the moon is
spinning outwards.
Yes, and getting away from the Earth. That it's going to knock it out to where we're not going to get those perfect.
Excuse me.
Because in the last couple of years, those questions have come up. It's like, wait a minute, like. How is it so perfect? It's 400 times bigger. It's 400 times the distance.
But they're saying because it's moving away and as soon as it's not going to do that.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
I think it's artificial. I think
what I was
put there. Hang on a second. You guys got to think about this. The idea that they can even calculate when an eclipse would happen is nonsensical because the world's supercomputer can't even figure out a 3-body problem. But did you know that all of the eclipses repeat every 18 years?
Yes, because I listened to one of your interviews.
Yeah, there you go. They repeat every 18 years. Like
they're
on a perfect wheel. The wheels in the sky keep on turning. Okay. The sun, its wheel takes 365 days to make a loop. Okay. So this isn't the scale or the speed. And then the moon does that loop every 28 days, 14 days in, 14 days out. And only when they meet at a nodal point. So only when they meet is there an eclipse, right? Now, these are going at different speeds. This, it takes 14 days in, 14 days out. This is 6 months in, 6 months out. And then when they cross, that's when you have an eclipse. And the eclipse button in the app will blow you away. There's so much good information in there. It will completely blow your mind.
Sacred geometry kind of there, or holy geometry is. I listen.
Right.
Sacred geometry, man. That's what it's always referred to. Sacred geometry.
Someone referred to it as holy geometry.
Well, they're trying to coin their own cult.
So Dave was on earlier. I was like, "What the fuck?"
We'll get in the stereo with that later on.
Spherical means we're on a.
That is insane. That even and that models you made there, those graphics model. Like, I might actually write to you afterwards. Like, who designed it? How'd you calculate the calculation you made there in the eclipses on the flat Earth map, the flat Earth model, is mind-blowing in itself.
I got to add the slide to my presentation, but there's a thing called the Antikythera mechanism. It's something they found off the island in Greece, off of Antikythera. It had a bunch of geared wheels, like fossilized in in a rock, and they had it out for years, and then they did an MRI on it, and they were able to see, and it's a highly advanced geared mechanism over 2,000 years old that they rebuilt it. They actually created it and built the clock. And when you turn it, it tells you where most of the planets are and where the moon and the sun are and all of the eclipses. It predicts them again and again. It just keeps on going around and around and around. This thing's been around for over 2,000 years.
Insane mechanics.
Yeah.
I know what
right?
you talk about. I love I'm a bit of an ancient alien kind of guy.
There is a video that's actually was featured on the app as yesterday, the day of this recording. And if you get the app and you go into the archives, so towards the end, the last two videos at the end of May, is this May, right? May 2020, right? Or is it 2021?
2021, pal.
2021.
It's all one big fucking year.
Is he going to
it's
deny
a long
time?
video, but it will completely blow your minds on what this world was. It gets into Tartaria, the advanced civilization.
Oh, yeah.
Are you talking about the video that dropped yesterday or today?
Yeah, the long one.
Yeah, it's like
right?
5 hours long.
Yes.
Yep. Someone sent it to me right away. First.
Yeah.
Morning.
You listen. Someone sends me a 20-minute video. I'm like, oh, come on, man. I don't have 20 minutes. I'm on my third watching. I'm on my third watching of this 5-hour video.
A 5-hour interview of you.
No, I'm on my third watching of this video, and I will watch it again. Okay.
So is that good?
There's so much information in there, and it will
Better get
blow
some
your
weed.
mind. It'll blow your mind. No, you do not need weed. You're gonna feel high when you're done with it.
Well, the quotes are preaching out the window, going, everything's a lie, guys. Getting the straitjackets after me.
Why do the Apollo astronauts have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
This is
Good question. Because they're great actors.
Because they're great actronauts.
I like Buzz
actronauts.
though.
Yeah, they're
It's
actronauts.
Buzz, isn't it?
Why are all of the guys that are supposedly responsible for heliocentrism all Freemasons? Okay.
Because it's a private club and you're not invited, so get out.
Why just before the Apollo missions did a NASA advisor,
Stanley Kubrick,
an astronaut,
Arthur C.
Kubrick,
Clarke,
yeah,
know those
sci-fi
two names
author,
very
right,
well,
and administrator of NASA all get together in Hollywood?
why they all.
Why? These are things that I want to know. Why?
that alone, that picture there is
Kubrick,
pretty
what he put in
incriminating.
The Shining, the little the symbology and the symbols
Oh yeah,
in The Shining that had to do with the moon landing.
all of it. It's
Yeah,
all,
that's actually so much.
They let us know all the time. You just have to have eyes to see. These are two shots with the same clouds.
Lazy
Just
bastards.
different coloration, different filters.
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, same clouds. Right?
They just keep
tried to make
making
us
our
think that,
money.
look, the Earth isn't as bright. It's all the pollution, right? Well, the clouds They forgot to change the clouds.
Well, it's the same jet streams, man. The jet
Yeah.
streams were the same.
Yeah, Dave, it's the same jet streams, man.
I've heard it all.
I mean, they'll come up with some crazy shit, you know.
Whoa, I want to say
counter.
the moon is hollow and there's a hollow Earth. So
The hollow Earth thing just.
I love it, man.
Now we
Unless
don't
you
know
jump
what's
down to
below.
another level,
We don't know what below 7.5 miles. There could be a whole nother realm below us.
because
Okay?
it's seven.
Another realm above us.
Is it 7.5 miles? The drill that bore down.
Deepest hole ever dug.
And if you have kids and if you've ever played Minecraft, you can only dig to a certain point. You hit bedrock, you can't dig any further. And that's on a flat plane itself. That Minecraft, one of the biggest, games ever. And people don't realize it's on a flat plane. It's on a flat plane.
Of course, it's on it. Wait. It's a 3D simulation, dude.
Nice.
Mhm.
It's XYZ, man.
Mhm.
Here's a book, 16 emergency
flat.
landings that prove flat Earth. And again, I'll show you one of them. But there's many times where there's emergency landings that prove that the Earth is flat. NASA's in charge of flight routes. NASA's in charge of radar. NASA's in charge of GPS. NASA's a bunch of liars.
Wait, sorry, David. That's a good point. If we're going to get anything out of this, NASA are in charge of our the flight paths, the radios.
Yep.
Okay,
All
wait.
of
Let's pause a second because I'm going to run downstairs for 2 seconds. But that is crazy. You're saying when I'm looking at those applications on the phone, looking at the flight maps, that database has come from NASA.
Yep.
Yeah, everything.
That proves
everything is
that
coming from
that
NASA.
stands more for the argument of flat Earth, of controlling the information.
Right about here, there was an emergency. I don't know what it was. Somebody had a baby or had a heart attack or both. And
maybe heart
Plane
attack.
had to land. Hawaii would have been the first choice. LA would have been the second choice. Probably turning back would have been the third choice. And the last choice would have been going all the way up to Alaska. But they did, because this is the actual flight route. Boom, emergency, Alaska. Hawaii is all the way out here.
Yeah.
Okay. So this has happened numerous times.
The UN uses the flat
Fully
earth
documented in this book. This book, you can find it on the app or just search 16 emergency landings. It's free online for PDF, but this is a coffee table quality book, a book that will go down in history, a book that will be worth money as soon as more oppression hits and they no longer allow the printing of these books. I highly recommend you get it. It's linked in the app under the books page, or you search for it on lulu.com. And the only reason I'm pushing that is because we need these books out here. Buy a box of them and give them away.
The visuals. It's the visuals. The visuals. That's why I brought you on.
Oh, yeah.
Because the visuals
are unreal.
And you have I don't know. No one can refute you.
It's just entertaining anyway. It's a good quality, wholesome entertainment.
It's good.
And if it's true,
here's a map
it's
10
really scary.
centuries old showing all of these continents outside of Antarctica. What the heck is out here? Right?
Giants,
Alien.
dinosaurs.
Right. And you know, it could be like that. We could have energetic domes, physical domes. I don't know. I don't think that we're trapped here. I think that the elite that are running this world make us think we're trapped here because they have us living on a ball. I believe there is a dome, but I believe there's more land beyond that dome. And there may be a way at certain times of the year, certain planetary lines.
Or not.
Like it's an infinite flat
Our
planet.
labor makes them rich. Our
Is that what you're
existence
saying?
makes them rich.
It could be.
Like art.
Like an infinite flat plane with puddles.
Well, that's less crazy than an infinite space vacuum.
Before we came on, David, we were talking about this.
Floating in the space vacuum.
Even like,
Right?
an infinite space is wacky. Anyway, trying to get your head around it, it never ends.
Yeah.
They're talking about realms. Anyway, so that alone, that there's a part that is non-physical, but we're in the same realm or something,
Right.
environment. Like that makes me trip out. Like without drugs.
This is the path of the space. This is the space station. I think this one's the space station.
I'm
and
pretty sure the
these are
white line.
satellite.
The white line is the space station. I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure. But this is what it looks like on a flat Earth.
Goddamn bastards.
Interesting.
I'm kind of digressing here, but when I look at the flat Earth and even Earth theory, do you ever see the little animation online about growing Earth? Like, I think Pangea theory is a load of bollocks, because if Pangea makes sense, that means one side of the planet on the globe was full of water, which doesn't make sense to me, because we love that part that the flat Earth goes.
If it
water
was that way, everything would go to the equator. All of the water and all of the land would all be at the equator, because it would all be due to centrifugal force, and it would all be pushed out to the equator.
But I think Pangea theory, which the scientists of Neil deGrasse, they all declare Pangea theory. That's what it's called, Pangea, when it's all one big continent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the growing Earth little animation? Kind of says, well, the Earth's to me it makes more sense. But Pangea theory, the way it's, if you get a science book and read Pangea, there's just one big continent, but they still argue that it was a load of water on the other side, and you're like, no, that doesn't make any sense. And anyone who thinks like that doesn't think at all.
One continent splitting apart would make more sense on a flat Earth to me.
It makes no sense, and all of the pyramids
doesn't make any sense.
They're all lined up with the stars. Still, the stars never moved, and neither do any of the things that are pointing at the stars.
And we like our pyramids because we're into the old ancient, mad, mystical weirdness. That's a lot of the chunk of what we do is about that weird shit.
We got to wrap it up. So,
Dave, pleasure, man.
You can find me at theflatearthpodcast.com if you forget everything else. Get the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Make sure it's by Blue Water Bay and Google Play. There's already a knockoff from the Flat Earth Society disinfo group with the same name. They stole half my graphics. The app sucks. I think it's free. Don't send me an email telling me my app sucks, because it's not my app. All right. So check my app out. If you're unsure, just look at the rating. It's the highest rated app in the App Store. And the last thing is my YouTube page, which is all short videos, good starter videos. It's like, just a little piece of crack. Try this, smoke this. It's really good. Okay.
We're not endorsing crack here. Cracker.
Don't do crack, kids.
Don't do
And
crack.
it's DITRH. It's the initials for deep inside the rabbit hole. And that's my Instagram, and everything else is the Flat Earth Podcast. The Flat Earth Podcast, and the flatearthpodcast.com. Don't forget the app.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been awesome. Glad
right.
you came on, and
thanks. And just, don't believe me. Go start checking this stuff out. Verify it yourself. I saw these videos that we can see too far. I went out and bought $1,000 camera, zoomed in on shit that should have been way over the horizon, and there it is. And I can see the water surface beyond it. Proving without a doubt.
You've got videos of you doing experiments.
Yeah.
I mean, I seen the one where you're sliding the light across that
right. I got that.
That string in your kitchen. I mean, that is an experiment, correct?
Yeah. That's a demonstration, a model.
Yeah, I mean, it shows it. I mean,
right. It shows you how we see things. In the app, you say, "What about the sunset?" Sunsets were always like, "What about the sunset? Damn it! It's going below the horizon." Go to the "Where does the sun go?" videos and binge on those. Bring some popcorn, some food,
and some.
Yeah, and then just remember, don't let them control your mind with cartoons. That's all I'll say.
There's a serious note here, though, that they've been constantly lying since, like, if you ever watched the moon hoax stuff, like, and you see the people jumping on the moon, and like, that does look bullshit. Then the Stanley Kubrick kind of gives more support to that he helped make the edits of that flat or globe, the powers that be. I didn't know they controlled the flight radar system. That alone has got me a bit like, Jesus Christ.
They also control all the helium in the world,
which they're saying we're running out of.
Yeah, they have it because they don't want us having airships. They don't want us having free energy. And they need it for their satelloons. They launched other satellites on balloons. Okay, those are the real satellites. They're hanging from balloons
in the jet streams.
Yep, and
now they can control them too with the. They've got little.
They can control the height because you have counter rotating winds at different levels, so they can remote bring it up and down. They can kind of keep it right where they want to keep it, and people still believe that you can see something the size of a small car at distances beyond the International Space Station. Again, scientifically,
the maths don't add up.
Well, that's like Starlink. Starlink, those are relatively small satellites.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to see them.
Fucking see them in the sky.
Those are a line of planes or drones with LED lights on the bottom.
And they explain it. It's the sun reflecting off the fucking solar panels on the bottom. It's coming over the horizon. If that, it's Elon Musk. Solar panels are meant to absorb light, not reflect light.
Yeah.
So you think Elon would have came up with better solar panels than panels from 1976?
Elon Musk's like Banksy,
99% of the light, and you wouldn't have that reflection. So
the honest truth, Chris, with the cryptocurrencies and everything else with Elon Musk and even PayPal in the beginning, to me now, Elon Musk is like the street artist Banksy. It's not just one person. It's like, obviously he's holding a whole corporation, but
Elon
to me
Musk
now, he's a poster boy.
He's exactly. He knows nothing.
He's just a poster boy.
He's nothing. He's just the little puppet that says what they want him to say.
A great big mouth.
I'm starting to think that, man, over the last few weeks.
All right, guys.
Yep.
Thanks, David.
Been great, Dave.
Yeah, you're
him out.
Very good at the
that app.
Visual presentation.
The app, when you got the visuals is what do.
Yeah, it helps.
We're gonna have to have you on
the
again.
videos will help you see. Then go verify it yourself. I mean, because we're all like, boats over the horizon, sticks and shadows by Aristophanes, sunset seasons. It's all explained, and you go, when you look, you're like, oh, frig, I've been lied to my whole life. All right, get over it and move on. And then I'm not ripping the world out from underneath you. I'm putting a foundation below you, right? And the bottom line is the reason that they're lying, which we didn't get into, the reason that they're lying is to control your mind, to not let you know that there's more. There's no shortages of anything. There's nothing to be afraid of. Asteroids, fake. Alien invasion, fake. That's coming, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And
Project Blue Beam?
Yeah. And they don't want you to know that there is a creator. You were touching on it before. It's as far as I go. This place
Yeah,
is intelligently designed, and then your relationship with that creator is your own. Don't let anyone tell you what it needs to be.
That's
Have
how
your
I
own.
preach it too, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't get too like fucking evangelical, like this is the book and all that
Listen,
shit. Like,
if
but
this is the book
yeah.
for you, enjoy it. Share it with people. Let them see it, and then let them make up their own minds. Whatever you want, but don't say this is the book or you're going to hell. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's
Yeah.
not right. That's not right.
Again, it's been great, Dave. Go
Yeah.
get this app, and if you want to make two Bitcoin, right? Get the app,
One proof of the globe.
and then just go through the videos and just debunk them all if you're that good. I mean,
No, don't have to debunk them all.
Debunk
One
them.
proof of the globe is all I ask. Just one, and you get 2 Bitcoin.
boom, boom.
But you don't
Great
get
app.
any pirate chain. That I'm
You got
keeping.
me. I got a load of
Pirate
questions
saying,
now. I got a load of
"Arr."
questions now.
Arr, there you go.
We can continue this on with Chris, but you got me thinking.
Yeah.
Which is
Enjoy
going to be
your
good
day,
for the
man.
stereo stream.
All right, man. Guys, see you. Thanks
Thanks,
so much. Hey,
David.
send me a link when this is up, and I'll share it on the app. All
All
right.
right, man.
Cool,
All
bro.
right, see you. Bye.
Thank you very much.